put up all these posters of Steph Curry? What the heck?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another ATB mini pod. Here, one of my most exciting times of the year for me personally. I'm a big fan of the NBA draft because I'm a huge fan of college basketball.
Oh no.
So this is a fun time for me. I don't really like the NBA regular season. The playoffs is cool, but this is where I really like lock in. And I just love it. I love a good draft, and we have a good draft here. I'm here with Miles. Miles, how are you doing?
We do. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. So excited for this upcoming draft. Like you said, it's going to be one of the best ones in years, for sure. A lot of great prospects. It was a great college basketball season, so it was great to now see it all come to fruition with a bunch of great prospects. So once you posed this idea, I was really excited, and it was a very good exercise today going through the top 30 prospects and just thinking about it. It's the first time I've ever done something like this, so it was very fun. So I'm excited.
No, yeah, for my first time putting together a big board. Once again, this is not a mock draft because the teams have their different needs. It's not really where they're gonna go 1 through 30. Like I'm not picking the order of where they're picked because there's trades and all that stuff. So these are just our top 30 guys we like. So we decided to put them from 1 to 30 and also into their different tiers, as Miles proposed. As did that come to you when you were making your like order? Because you're like, I kind of like
Yeah,
either
so I
guy.
because I was making well, so I still rank them in my tiers. Like they're still ranked,
Oh,
but
me as well.
as I was making them, I'm like, I feel like there's like different, like there's obviously the difference of tiers. Like everyone's talking in the draft about like the top four, but I really think it's like the top four, and then there's like the second tier of like 5 through 10, and then everything after that. So I was like, I kind of felt it felt easier for me to make when I tiered it out. So that's just why I did it. And so I think it'll make for a pretty good and entertainment value here. So yeah, so we'll see. But I know Matt did took his tiers to the max, so
No,
it's gonna
yeah.
be very
As you
interesting to
said,
see.
it's like the top four guys. My first tier is only 3 people, um, so this is gonna be fun because we all look at the game a different way. That's what the fun thing about basketball. And
Yeah.
my first tier, I'm gonna say, is 3 guys, and I put it as all world potential. These three
Okay.
guys to me have all world potential. What's your name for your first tier, and how many guys?
My first tier is franchise players, and I have 4 players in there.
Okay, so I think the top three, I think we probably have the same, but number one, I have AJ DeBonsa, who I think is the highest upside is he's the best scorer in the league. So that's kind of
Yeah,
where
this
I have him
yeah, this is the
more than my
guy.
next
This is
one.
the guy that this is the guy that can definitely win a scoring title in the NBA. I mean, he just has a pro bag already and in college. So just with NBA spacing and NBA concepts, he'll definitely he could average 20 next season. So I could definitely see him winning a scoring title down the line.
Yeah, and I think this would be number one in the draft too. I think the Wizards would love to have, and he fits right into that kind of team they're trying to build. Number two, who do you got?
So sadly, I really didn't want to do this, but sadly, I do have Darren Peterson, number 22 from Kansas, as I will refer to him in this exercise as. Um, Obviously, I mean, if you tune into any episode that we've done, we are not great big fans of Darren Peterson. Um, I mean, like even just he's in his tour press tour before this draft, he's really talked about how his whole cramping and missing games and coming out of games was all secretly because of creatine that he was taking, which I just think is a very lame excuse to be so. And it team that was really good and really could have used him to progress even further and have a better season. But there's no denying the talent. I think the high school tape looks a lot better than the college tape does. He looks a lot more athletically explosive. But the shot making, the athleticism, I think is undeniable. Sadly, so I have him as my number 2 prospect.
Yeah, I agree with all you said, and that's why he comes into number three in my draft for in my top 30. I love his game when he's healthy. I mean, he's a top tier scorer. He's up there in scoring with AJ. I just like AJ's size a bit more. As a
Mhm.
6'8" to 6'9" forward with that type of handle and that type of shot making. But I think Darren's better from three. We could all say from that AJ is right now at the current moment. And he can create his own shot from anywhere. But just some of the processes he went through in the season has me at number three because I think I saw more in my number two guy who is the Naismith National Player of the Year, Cameron Boozer. I mean, if you look analytically, shout out to Kenny Atkinson. He had the best season out of anybody by pretty much far. So, um, but to add on to that, he won the National Player of the Year in pretty much everybody's eyes. It was a clear runaway after basically after January. It was like it's his award to lose as long as he doesn't have a God-forsaken injury or anything like that. But he finished the season very strong. Duke had a run to the Elite Eight, which was kind of disappointing with them being the number one overall seed. But no denying the season he had. Just a rebounding monster. The bag is probably number one question in his game of creating his own shot. But I think everything else he is a elite at doing. He has a good handle for his great handle for his size. Good feel for the game. Just a kid that like grew up in a basketball household as he did with his dad and his brother. So yeah, I love the kid, and that's why I put him at number two.
Yeah, I mean, Boozer is the analytics king, like you said. Shout out Kenny Atkinson. What really impressed me about Boozer is his passing and rebounding prowess. I mean, he's easily the best passing big man forward in this class, and probably that we've seen in a couple of years. Um, like you said, his feel for the game. It's very clear that he grew up around the game and playing the game, and he's a perennial winner. I mean, he's won at every level that he's been at. He's a USA basketball legend, allegedly so far. I mean, I didn't watch any of the U18 or stuff like that, but he's a USA basketball legend. His dad, obviously, an NBA veteran himself. So it's just a guy that has played a lot of basketball, played a lot of meaningful basketball, and had a great year at Duke. Like you said, was the Naismith Player of the Year, and yeah, he's my number three prospect just because I think the upside for the other two is higher. But yes, I think he's as honestly as Cam Miss can get. I mean, I don't see how Cam Boozer can be a bust in this draft. And I'm just excited to see where he ends up and how that team decides to use him. I mean, he's because like you said, he's analytically a perfect fit for damn near any team. So
Yeah, I think he would be good at Memphis if they keep Ja. But the number four guy I have that ends my all world potential tier. So I think you have one more guy in your franchise player tier, but I put this guy
mhm.
in his own tier because he's an anomaly. Caleb Wilson, I think he would have at your number four as well. Is that right?
Mhm. Yes, sir.
Um, the kid is an insane athlete, and he had a great season at UNC. He basically did it all. The number one thing is just can he shoot the three ball at a pro level to be on the floor to be that franchise player. I think he has enough athleticism to be a 20 point per game guy, but these other three guys have 25 point potential careers in them. So that's why I put him in his own tier. But if he can grow that shot and just grow into the game a bit more, I know his season got cut a little short. So I'm intrigued to see what his rookie season looks like and how they develop him. But man, he has all the talent in the world. But I just had to put him a little bit below those top three guys.
Yeah, it's just the separating of the skills. Like I feel like those top three guys definitely are more skillful players at this moment than uh than Wilson is. But I mean, he's probably the best I mean, maybe him and AJ are like competing for best athlete status in this and these at least in my tier, sorry. It's at least in my first tier. But I mean, like I said, he's an electric athlete. He's a super efficient player. Um his mid-range shot is very good, but I mean, obviously, it's expanding into the three-point shot and obviously the longer three-point shot in the program here. But I have no doubt that he's going to be an elite defender, an elite rebounder. He can push the pace. And there's just so much that he can do on the court. He's going to be a great defender. I think his defensive instincts need some work. I think obviously he has a higher defensive ceiling than Boozer, but at this moment, I think Boozer's a better defender than he is, just because Boozer has better instincts defensively. So I think as Caleb grows and gets better, I think in 2 years you're gonna look back at this and be like, wow, I mean, how did he potentially go number 4 in this draft? Because he's gonna be that good. But yeah, like you said, it's just a projection, because you got to look at, I mean, where he is now versus if the shot progresses, then I mean he's going to be a different level of player. But right now, because of the skill, the difference between the top three and him, that's why he's at 4 for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that ends our top four in our first couple tiers. Your first tier, my first two tiers. But introduce them to your next tier and what's called and how many guys.
So my tier 2 includes 6 players, and it's future stars slash all star ceiling. Um, it's just a loaded group here, and I think they're all guards. They're all guards in this tier for me. But what about you?
No, yeah, my next tier is full of guards as well. It's all guards, but it's only four guys, and I named it the
Okay.
stud guards. These
Okay.
are guys that are just studs. So number five, I have Darius Acuff Jr. I've had said some things before on this podcast about Darius Acuff Jr., but just looking at all the numbers and just looking deep into it, looking at some of the games he had this past year, I mean, the offensive prowess is just undeniable. This guy has magic with the ball in his hands. He's a Trey Young esque player in that type of play style, but I think he's more built than Trey, and he's a little taller. So, um, I just love the prospect, and I just have him at five. What about you?
Yeah, I have the same thing. I mean, I'm a Darius Acuff truther. I love the kid. I love the. I was when doing the research for this, was also thinking of the Trey Young comparison, because Trey Young, obviously coming out of Oklahoma, led his conference in scoring and in assists, the same as Darius Acuff did this year. But just really looking, I didn't really look at his stats much of the year, but looking at his stats and seeing that he shot 44% from three over the year, which is a crazy number for a guy that has that much usage. And it's not like he's shooting catch and shoot threes or threes right on the line. Like, he's pulling it. So I have no qualms about if it's going to translate to the NBA. He's a bucket. He passes super well. He engages his teammates, and like I talked about in our last pod, I think his defensive acumen is being extremely undervalued, because I mean, even though yes, he's only 6'3", he has a 6'7" wingspan, and if you really watch the clips and you watch his film, you'll see that when he's truly engaged, when he's truly trying, he can be a good defender. I'm never gonna say that he's going to be an elite guard defender. He's not, but I don't think that I think his defensive weaknesses are being extremely inflated in this in this media space. So I agree with them. I agree with you. I have him as my fifth rated prospect.
Who you got at six? I think we might disagree here. This is one of my hot takes. So you
Yeah,
go first.
yeah. So at 6, I have Keaton Wagler, a guy that came onto the scene pretty late into the year. Wasn't even starting for his Illini group right away. But I mean, just the size to be a 6'6" guard who ran the show for a team that made the Final Four. I think the size, the passing, and the 3-point shooting were the three things that really stood out to me. He's a great passer. I think he averaged almost 5 or over 5 assists. And while he didn't shoot it amazing from three, I think that it's very obvious that his off the dribble shooting is there for the taking, and that he will be a pretty good 3-point shooter in the league. Um, I think that he needs to fill out frame wise. But again, this is a really young kid who's 18, 19 years old. And I think the size and the prowess and I really liked the ability to improve throughout the year. Like, he came into the year as a unheralded prospect and has launched himself into a lottery guy. So I think as he continues to improve and continues to fill out, I think projecting him in a couple of years, I think he'll be very good. So yes, I keep Wagner, but I'm sure I think I have a guess of who you have at 6. But go ahead.
Okay, but I'm not. I don't think you would be right. I'll get to Wagler later because he's not even in this tier for me from the
Ooh,
5 through 8.
oof, oof.
So we'll get to. I'll talk about him later when I get to that tier. But number 6, I have LeBaron Philon, the guard out of Alabama.
Oh,
He's a
okay.
6'3" guard, and I think he is my favorite or most polarizing prospect I have in a positive way. Um, if you look at a consensus mock draft I'm getting from Tinkathon, he's 11th. That's taking in I think the 5 top most like rated drafts, and I got him at my number 6 spot. The kid is a sophomore coming out, so he has 2 years of college experience, but he's around the same age as basically all these. He's not he's less than a year younger than all these top guards that we're going to be talking about right now. Only at 20 and a half years old. Um, his freshman year, he wasn't the main guy. He was playing along Mark Sears coming off the bench some games, beating the two some games. And basically, what he was asked to is to hit threes and guard their best player because we knew, or their best guard, because we knew Mark Sears wasn't going to guard anybody's best guard if they wanted to win any games. So he averages, I think, like 10, 4, and 3. He tested the waters last year, got some opinions, came back, and absolutely lit up the SEC, averaging 22, 4, and 5, shooting at 40% from 3. Um, the assists per 36 are up at 6. He's averaging 25 points per 36 minutes. I mean, this kid can do it all. He's shown he could be a point guard. He's shown he could be a 3D guy. I think he's a guy that embraces his role, and he's talented off the wazoo. So he's my 6th rated prospect. Even though I think if we're talking mock draft, I would love to see your Warriors either move up a little bit, a bit, or if he falls to you, I think that's an amazing pick.
Absolutely. I love the file. I love you having the balls to put Phylon at 6. It's an amazing pick. And yeah, I mean, you even sent the message to me this morning saying like, is there something I'm missing about Phylon? Like, and I totally agree. He's not like people make it seem like he's like this like 30-year-old guard coming into the draft when he's literally just a sophomore. Um, and I really just and a lot of these players I looked at, a lot of the non-freshman players, obviously. What was really cool to me is the year upon year improvement, and for him to go from a guy that last year was only averaging 10 points, had a very limited role, but a very important but limited role on last year's Alabama team, to being the guy on this team on a flawed Alabama team. I mean, they played the way that they play so that so their flaws are never really going to be exposed. And their flaw this year was obviously their front court. But he was the battery for that team. He was the heart and soul for that team who made the Sweet 16, I believe, or did they make?
Yeah, lost your
Yes,
Wolverines.
yeah, they lost to my Wolverines. But he was giving us work, absolute work. I mean, against against the future national champions with some elite defensive talent on that team, he was giving them work. So I have no doubt that he's going to be able to score at the next level and defend and pass and do all the things. So yeah, I would love to have him go. But yeah, I love that pick for you.
No, yeah, talk about that Michigan game. I think we all have. We said you said their weakness at Alabama was their front court. I think I have all 3 front courts in this top 30 from Michigan. I think you do as well.
Mhm.
In that game, he had 35. 35, shot 10 for 21, made 6 threes, 9 for 9 from the free throw line. Like the kid can score at all 3 levels, and he's just super talented. So who do you got at 7?
At 7, I have your boy. I have Kingston Flemings.
I do as
Um,
well. So
Yes.
go.
Um, I think he's an amazing prospect. I think the thing that stood out to me the most, just watching him and going back through the tape today, was his intangibles. I mean, it's kind of like what we talked about with Cam Boozer. It's very obvious that this kid played a lot of high level basketball throughout his life, and I mean, obviously going and playing for Kelvin Sampson, one of the best college basketball coaches that we have today and ever, really just took that to a whole new level. His defensive upside is so great. Even as a smaller-ish guard, he's 6'4", excuse me, 6'3", 6'4", and he still is a pest defensively. Averaged over a steal, and he's just a great passer, a better passer than I thought. Looking at the numbers, watching him initially throughout the season, I didn't have this thought of him as a passer, but looking back through the numbers, he averages almost 5 assists. And so I think that that along with his smooth scorer, and he's such an efficient and smooth scorer, I think that he's somewhat of a can't miss prospect in this litany of guards right here, who probably has the best defensive upside outside of maybe I think Keaton, if he fills out, will probably has a higher defensive upside, but Kingston is probably the best guard defender in this little cluster tier of guards that I have right here. So I mean, yeah, I can't say enough good things about Kingston Fleming, and I'm excited to see where he goes. I just really hope it's not to the Clippers. That would disappoint me. But any other landing spot he falls at, I think he'll be amazing at.
No, yeah, I mean, I've said it basically everywhere. I just love this guy so much. The two-way potential he has. I mean, he's a bit smaller than I would love. Like if he was 6'5", he would be probably fifth in this list for me. So like just
Absolutely.
the measurables were just not the best, but he's such a quick athlete. He's so basketball savvy with his hands. He just knows the game. You just know when you look at the film, this kid is just can fill into any team and he would produce and he would get into the rotation somehow. So yeah, I mean, he's a good shooter. He scored from all three facets. I think he'd like to get better at the rim, but I think that will come with some touch. But yeah. Where'd you have Phylon, or did you say or no?
My next pick, 8. Phylon's
Okay.
my eighth prospect. It was kind of when I was looking at this, I kind of knew my top 7. And then when I got to 8, it was kind of between the next 3 players on my list. And just what separated was like we just talked about with Phylon, like his year upon year improvement. And the fact that he was 22 points per game, shot 50, 40, 80. And yeah, just the year upon year improvement that he shows, his size and all that kind of stuff. So kind of just regurgitating what you talked about with him. He's just such a good player, such a pretty much can't miss prospect, and I love LeBaron Fallon, and hopefully he's a Warrior in a couple of months, in a
Yeah, I would
month.
love that.
Sorry.
So since I already have in my list, my number 8 is different, but it's not Keegan Wagler. It's another guard that finishes my stud guard list. It's Braden Burries that comes in at 8. The guard from Arizona. He was a freshman this past year. Obviously, Arizona was a great team. This past year they got a 1 seed, and he filled his role nicely as a freshman. A little older freshman. He's older than LeBaron Phylon, if we're talking about this. So that's why I had LeBaron a bit higher. But he averaged 16, and he wasn't really the guy that team. He was fighting. He was probably the same role as Koa Pete had, which is later on my list. But he averaged 16, 2.5 assists. The turnovers were kind of a problem, but he wasn't really asked to be that passer for that team. So that comes with being in that type of role. 39% from three. The kid can light it up. Um, I mean, he's a very big 6'5". I mean, he averaged 5 rebounds a game, which impressed me. And I think he has the one of the highest defensive outlooks out of all these guards, probably behind Fleming's for me. Um, but yeah, I like the kid. I think his type of mold and his type of play style just usually hits in the league. So that's why I like him over Wagler as a guard. Um, so that's why I have Burry's a little bit higher at 8.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good pick. Um, I have one more guard before I have Burries, and that guard is freshman out of Louisville, Michael Brown Jr., who I was a little bit late to the party on, honestly. At him as a prospect coming out of high school, I heard a lot about him, and I mean, obviously his season at Louisville was a little weird, and only played 21 games. But I think the size and the just unconscious and what seems like just smooth scoring is something that I just have to acknowledge. He does so much. He was on obviously a very weird Louisville team that kind of didn't have too much around him, so he kind of had to make it work himself. But had multiple 40 point or 30 plus point explosions. Um, and I just think like kind of like Kingston, like he has a very high defensive upside at 6'5", is a little bit bigger than all these other guards. I think him and Burries are about the same size. And I just kind of like his all around scoring a little bit more than Burry's. I think Burry's is very jump shot dependent, whereas I think Michael shows a little bit more prowess in getting to the rim and scoring in mid range. And I would say Burry's is probably the better 3-point shooter than Michael is right at this moment. But yeah, I just like Michael Brown Jr. as a prospect.
No, yeah, I like him too. I just had a little bit more questions. I watched a lot of their Louisville games. He was kind of in and out of the lineup out of the year, but he got healthy as the year went on.
Mhm.
Just around the rim or just some of his shot selection at times is just baffling. I mean, I think he's a great talent, but I just think he's got to learn the game a bit more. I think it's going to take him a little bit more time. I think he could reach a ceiling where he is like a boom pick in this top 10, but I just have him a bit lower because I think some of these other guys I just went in my rankings about who do I have the least questions of and who has the top tier talent in that type of with less questions. He has that top tier talent. I just have a couple questions.
I feel that. I totally understand that.
So he was your 8. Brian Berries was my 8. That ends my stud guards tier.
Wait. No, Michael was my 9. I didn't skip anything, right?
Who was your 8?
Oh, no,
No,
I'm
no.
sorry. Michael was my 8. Michael was my
Or no. Michael was your 9. He was your 9.
yes,
Okay,
yes.
because you had
Michael's
Pylon at 8.
yes,
So
yes.
number 9. So my stud guards tiers ends at number 8. So
Okay.
my number 9 pick is in his own tier, not a guard. Yaxel Lendenborg, your
Okay.
boy, is creeps into my top 10. He's a very older prospect,
Wait,
but
what is the tier? What is the tier called?
Yaxel Lendenborg, like just in a tier of his own.
I got you. I got you. I respect it.
Because like he can't doesn't fit in with anybody like really like kind of near him and with the guy around him. So I just need to put him in his own tier because I
I
can't put him
got
in my
you.
stud guards pick. So and I
Yeah,
wanted to get creative. I want to have a little bit of fun. But
I feel you.
he transfers to Michigan for his senior year. He's coming in at 23 and a half years old. So I am acknowledging that, but the talent is undeniable. He's a stud athlete. A 7'3" wingspan at 6'10" is unreal. He can guard 1 through 5. He has athleticism and he could shoot it. He was asked to play make a bit at Michigan, and he came out to the task. I think he just checks all the boxes except the age. So whoever gets him is getting the most pro ready outside of the top 3, or he's up there with the top 3 in pro ready today. But the top tier, but I think he maxes out at a 18 point per game at his peak, just the way he plays.
Absolutely. Yeah, I watched a lot of Yaxel this season, obviously. And what stood out about me is obviously he was our best player. But what also stood out to me is throughout the tournament and tournament time and Big Ten tournament and NCAA tournament, he was guarding up until he got injured. He was guarding the other team's best player most of the time. Their best perimeter player. And so I just think that two-way ability and the ability to just fit into an offense. There were a lot of times throughout the season where I'm like, yeah, it's like I need you to just take over, like take all these shots. Like these shots are for you. But I think his ability to just kind of fit into an offense, not really force anything, will be something that's going to greatly help him at the next level because it's not like whoever he gets drafted by is going to be drawing up plays for Yasser Lindenborg necessarily. So I think him being able to just kind of slide in and fit into an offense will be something that greatly helps him.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I just love his game. I think he's good at
Mhm.
everything. Ask him to do anything, he would do it. And if he was told to be a leading scorer, I think he could average like over 20 a game with good
I
efficiency.
think he could average around 20 to 21 in
I
today's
just don't
game.
think he
Yeah,
would
for
be
sure.
ever asked to be the best player on the team in this type
Okay.
of situation. Only if he goes to
Okay.
the Nets, which hey, that would
Mhm.
kind of be a sneaky pick. That would be
Possible.
a
That'd be
sneaky pick
nice.
if there's a trade back, if something miraculous happens, if you get a huge package, I wouldn't hate it. So that rounds out our top 9, correct? Because you have Barry's
Yes.
at 9. So
Yes.
that ends the actual Lundenborg tier. If
Mhm.
anybody didn't expect that. So my next tier is 2 players. Um, it's the boom or bust guards to me, and these 2 have already been named by you. Number 10 is Keegan Wagler for me. I think he's great size. He has great feel for the game. His passing is there. Just a limited athletically. I think everybody could agree with. He's not that top tier athlete. I think the guys above him are all better athletes, but his feel for the game was undeniable, and I think the shot will be very good in that. I just don't think he could be a lead ball handler guard at his peak because of that limited athleticism, just to be what as asked to do by a point guard today. I think his role is better as a two, and I think that's where you get most of his value. I think at his peak, he's a I don't know, like a worse Luca at his peak. So like 21 points per game if he booms, but I think there's a little bust potential out of that. And then 11,
Definitely.
and then 11, I'm Mikhail Brown Jr. Um, Electric scorer, but as I said before, like just a couple questions. But he's
Mhm.
there at 11 for me.
Okay.
That's the only two guys in my boomer bust guards tier.
Okay, got you. Rounding out my second tier at 10 is Braden Burries. Have him right behind Michael Brown Jr. and he's the last guard in my tier. Just because I think in college he was asked to do the least of all the guards that were kind of here. He obviously was playing with Rochester Products, shout out, and Big 12 Player of the Year, Jaden Bradley kind of running the show, so he didn't really have to worry about running the show. He could really just his role was very simplified into scoring, a little bit of playmaking, and defending well enough. And I think that he did all those at a pretty nice level. I mean, you noted the turnovers, but I think. I mean, looking at the numbers, he did well. Again, he like multiple players here, shot 50, 40, 80, and his percentages. But I think that last and to I know it's kind of an annoying thing to bring up, but that Final Four game against Michigan is kind of just the last thing sitting in my head of him. And the entire Arizona team played bad. Nobody played well for that Arizona team. But I just think that kind of showed me, and Arizona had played godly the entire season. So, but that game kind of showed me, and he had a number of games, honestly, to where he just kind of completely disappeared in a way. I remember the electric game that they had against Iowa State, I believe it was in the Big
Yeah,
12
yeah,
semifinal,
yeah.
which I
Three
don't think he
points.
scored in.
He had
Yeah, he
three.
scored three
He didn't make
points.
one shot, but he had 3 points, three free throws.
Yeah, so I just think those type of things. I think that he's an NBA guard easily. Like I think like his scoring and all of that, his shooting, he's an NBA guard. But I think he's a little bit too wishy washy for me to where I kind of have him at the bottom of this guard tier for me. But I think he's an amazing prospect, and he rounds out my top 10 prospects.
Okay, he's at 10. So
Mhm.
show me your next tier because that was the end of your tier, right?
So my tier three are solid starters that I have. These next five players are five players that I think are legitimate starters at the next level and that could start on any NBA team right now. And to start that tier, I have Yaxel Lindenberg. I might as well go ahead and get it out there because we just talked about him. Um, to go from UAB and you're the guy, and then to go to a high powered team like Michigan in the future in the national champions, and to have every single one of your percentages increase and improve, I think is a great sign as a player. I mean, like you noted, he's what you said, 23 and a half
Yeah.
years old. But he talked about it multiple times this year. He's only been playing basketball since he was like 15 or 16 years old. So he's still very young in his journey, even though he's an older prospect. And so I just think he's going to continue to get better, continue to improve his skill. And I think that, like I noted, he defends at a high level, he rebounds, he passes, and he can score with the best of them from all three levels. So I think that this is the player that you can plug into virtually any team, and he can be a very solid player for you in his role. And yeah, so he's my 11th ranked prospect on my board.
Okay. So the number 12 pick for me, starts another tier for me is the do it all bigs, and there's only two guys in here, and 13, 12 and 13. Number 12, I got Hans Steinbeck. out of Washington.
Oh, okay.
So he's a German born, but he came over. He's a 20-year-old freshman. 6'11", 250. He's just a big body. True shooting percentage of 36%. He was very efficient around the rim, and he shot 34% from three, only on 1.8 attempts, but the stroke didn't look too bad. The shot didn't look that bad, but he's a force around the rim. He rebounds the heck out of the ball. He averaged 11.8 rebounds a game. And he blocked a shot and he stole a ball a game. I mean, the guy could do it all, and he's a big guy, and I think just that puts him over my 13th guy is his shot. Like I just like the look of the shot better. But the guy behind him might have had a better combine. But who do you have?
Okay.
What do you think of Hans and his game?
Can I just say this is a prospect where we disagree heavily. I will be honest with you, I hadn't watched the second of Heinz Steinbach until I was making this list today. And then I went through virtually every game that he played this season. And he's on my list. He's in the top 30, but he is not in my top 20. I'll say that to you
Oh,
right now.
wow.
Um I I I mean, yeah, I'll keep it at that. I'll wait till we get to him to get to my grievances with him as a player. But what was the name of your tier that you put him in?
The do it all bigs.
Do it all bigs. Okay. I acknowledge it. That was your 12th? That
Yeah,
was
that was my
12
number
for you?
12 guy.
Okay. So at 12 for me is a controversial prospect. I have Ade Mara at number 12. For me, also a national champion. 7'3" and moves better than any 7'3" most 7'3" players that I've ever seen. Um, he's a defensive anchor. I think he has very good touch around the rim. Obviously not a player that you're ever going to see shoot many threes or any mid ranges for that matter. But I think his and it's not like he's going to get post ups in the NBA, but I think his touch around the rim is extremely good. He showed at the combine that he moves extremely well. Um, and I just think at the very least, we talked about it last episode. At the very least, I mean, Rudy Gobert. I mean, like Rudy's obvious, and I want to pump the brakes there. Rudy's obviously what a 4-time, 3-time defensive player of the year. So do I think he's that good? Like he has the defensive instincts of Rudy Gobert? No, but I do think his physical profile is similar to that of Rudy. I think that he moves just as well. I think that his wingspan is just as long. And I think that the offensive game will continue to grow. I think he'll find a way to affect the game on the offensive end, but I think his calling card will be on the defensive end. And yeah, I just see him being a pretty prolific defensive player. And I mean, after watching him all year, I had my doubts about him coming in as a player from UCLA, but um, throughout the year, he just showed that he was probably Michigan's second or third best player. So I liked him all year, and yeah, he's my number 12. He's number 12 on my big board. What
But
did you
yeah,
think,
I
Jake?
agree with all you had to say about Ade. He hasn't been named yet, so he's probably on my list, but he's coming up pretty soon.
Okay,
Um, so what was the name of this tier that you had? This is the starters. So what's next?
starters.
Who's the next starter for you?
So this is also, I think, I mean, I like him. I think it would be considered a reach for most players. I'm assuming he's on your list, but probably not this high. Chris Sanak Jr. I have as my number 13 prospect. Just a 6'11" athlete, like absolute athlete. The guy's can is everywhere, has a 7'4" wingspan, an elite rebounder in this class. I think that his offensive game is growing. I mean, obviously he only averaged, 9 points a game in his freshman season at Houston, but I think that as he continues to grow and as he continues to be in an NBA locker room and with NBA skills and training, I think that his offensive game will continue to grow. But I think the baseline of being a 6'11" insane athlete and insane rebounder, I think the sky's the limit for this guy. I think that his size is probably the reason why I have him over the next guy that I have on my list. Um, but I think that this guy can grow into an absolute great player, just because of his physical tools. And again, great defender. He went to University of Houston. It was coached under Kelvin Sampson, who definitely emphasized defending and rebounding to him. So I think that he could be a very good NBA player.
No, yeah, I agree. I think he has the chance to be very good. He's a little farther down my list, but he's in my top
Mhm.
20, so we don't disagree that much.
Okay,
So after you get into like the 13s with the teens, it's like anybody can go anywhere. So I don't
exactly.
disagree with the 13 spot. My 13 is another Michigan guy, Merez Johnson, here at 13 to end my do it all bigs tier. Um, Merez, I think you probably watched him more at Michigan, but he was part of that national championship trio front court. Um, and he was very efficient. He was a very efficient big. He's a young sophomore, and he's a physical specimen. I mean, the kid showed out at the combine. He's probably one of the combine winners of that in Chicago. Showed out in all like the lane agility, all the shuttles. 7'3" wingspan at 6'10". Obviously, that's pro. And I mean, the shot didn't look too bad after his freshman year at Illinois. Kind of got going late in the year. He showed it off a bit in in March Madness, but he didn't shoot it a ton. And he didn't have to. He shot 62%, 67% true shooting. I mean, very efficient around the rim, very big body, good with the ball in his hands, and he's good on the defensive end. So I just think he's a serviceable big that can fill a lot of roles for you. So that's why I have him rounding in my do it all bigs tier at 13.
Yeah, I mean, we could just go ahead and have the Morris Johnson discussion now because he's my 14th player, right
Mhm.
under Kristanek. Yeah, probably the best showing at the combine of any of the prospects, to be honest with you. 7'3" wingspan, at standing just over 6'10". He's an improved shooter. I think in the shooting, like the around the world shooting drill, I think he made 19 out of 25 shots. I mean, and again, it's one drill, not making a big deal out of it. But I know the coaching staff at Michigan encouraged him to shoot more of them. And honestly, at a certain point throughout the season, when I saw him shooting it from three, I was like, honestly, I think it's going in. It didn't go in more times than it did. I will say that. But I think that he like you said, he's a beast. He's going to be an elite defensive player no matter what. I think the offensive side is the question because um, I just don't know how. I have questions about how he scores at the next level if the shot isn't serviceable. I think just because I mean he played in a big front court, and he knows how to finish over bigger defenders and can punish smaller defenders. So I have no questions about him around the rim, but just him, how does he get to the rim? How does he get around the rim? Is my only question with him. But I think the defensive upside will be great. I think he can honestly defend 5 through 2 or 3 very well because he moves laterally extremely well and obviously has a great vertical, and a great wingspan. So I love Morris Johnson and think that any team that gets him will be getting a very good player for years to come.
So yeah, that's why I have him at 13. Number
Mhm.
14 is another guy with his own tier, and it's called the Ade Mara tier. And you already had him at 12,
Mm,
so I have him at 14, just under those dude all bigs because I think those guys are just way more laterally quick, and I trust them more on the defensive end to guard more guys as do it all bigs, and they're just a little more athletically gifted. But Ade Mara, he's physically gifted because he stands at a tall, what is it, 7'4". Like the
yeah.
kid is a huge, big body. Obviously, said transferred from UCLA. You know, looked terrible at UCLA. I think he would have came back to UCLA. I think that team would have been very good if he went back to UCLA. Him and Donovan Dent would have been very good to play with. Shout out Donovan Dent, retired.
Yeah,
Congrats.
retired legend. Legend.
Like, yeah, shout out him. Standing reach at 9'9". Yo, what the heck? That's gonna be hard to get. That's
Just
gonna get hard to get
gross.
past. Um, you don't want him shooting outside of 8 feet, but he's just that big, and you just have to have him this high just because of his unicorn size and just his ability to block shots. He averaged 2.6 in 23 minutes. That's 4.4 blocks per 36 minutes. which is just great efficiency. And yeah, I think I just have a little bit just the question of, is he mobile enough? He looked good at the combine, but we'll see against NBA speed. So that's why I got him in his own tier at 14.
I like that spot for him, and I agree that he's probably in his own tier because he's his own guy in this big board in draft. I think like you talked about last pod. I mean, I have one other center on my big board, and it's way down. But yeah, this center class is pretty weak. So I think that kind of adds into his polarizing nature in this draft for sure. But that was 14 for you,
That was
correct?
14. Yes. So you had
Okay.
Merez at 14, right?
Yes, I
So
did.
so
So
15.
round,
Oh wait, okay. Round out your tier because mine starts at
yeah.
mid tier. I obviously have to add
Okay.
in our tier.
Yeah. So my last starter in tier three is none other than Christian Anderson, a player that I'm pretty high on. I a lot of other lists I looked at were not this high on Christian Anderson. I love him from the second I started watching him. Honestly, I didn't watch. I don't think I don't remember watching any of him last year at Texas Tech, but this year, obviously, a great Texas Tech team. Sad to be their ceiling was kind of clipped by the loss of JT Toppin, but um, just a enormously efficient guard who improved from last year's status and kind of, I mean, it was him and JT Toppin. I mean, other than that, they really didn't have many other players on their team that were helping out. And so I just think the improvement that he showed from a year upon year, how efficient he was as a player and as a playmaker, and just the fact that he shot 41%, 41.5% from three. I think that's going to translate well to the next level. I think that his size is great for the next level. And I mean, I just don't really see many weaknesses in his game. I think that he's not going to blow you away necessarily, but I think that he can dribble, pass, and shoot at an elite level. And I think that he's an NBA guard. And that's all I gotta say about Christian Anderson, to be honest with you.
And no, I love the prospect. He's in my top 20, but he's not my next prospect at
Mhm.
15. 15 is starts my, let me introduce this here, high upside wings. These are my high upside wings that go I made my list and then I made the tiers after. So that's why they're
Yeah,
kind of named, that's why they're personalized. And it's not like, okay, here's the starters and then I just did it. So I just made it, and just how I looked at them was just my tiers. Here's my high upside wings. There's three guys in this tier from 15 to 17. 15 is Cameron Carr, the guard out of Baylor. He's been another draft process riser. He was great at the combine. I think he had a 30 ball there, but he also showed in his year at Baylor that he is a primetime scorer with the ball. He's a long wing. Um, he stands, as I'm trying to find him,
I
at
think six
six.
six.
Yeah, 6'6", 180. He's a little frail. 21, so not terrible age. But a 7 foot wingspan at 6'5", which graded out off the charts compared to his height. Um, he jumped out of the gym. The lateral quickness was off the charts as well. Just an athlete, plain and simple, just a high tier athlete, and he was on a big volume for that team. Him and another guy that went through from this draft, and Tonde Yesufu going to St. John's. Great pickup by Rick
Mhm.
Pitino. I'd like to see another guy go there soon, as I predict, in Milan Momcilovic. But we won't get all into that. We'll wait till that is officially done. But he shot 49 from the field, 37 from three, 80 from the line. So checks to be a good shooter, servable shooter in the league. And you pair that with just his athleticism. He had a block a game, he had a steal a game. And he showed a bit of a playmaking aspect, but it's probably one of his weaknesses. Um, but yeah, just a high upside wing, as the tier describes him.
Yeah, I totally agree. And he's my 16th ranked prospect. In my new tier of boomer bust. Um, and in my notes I wrote literally athlete slash combine warrior. Those are the only two things that I put down. Um, he's an absolute athletic freak. I mean, and I really think, I mean, I put a lot of stock into this, but dropping a 30 ball in a combine 5-on-5 workout is a pretty big deal because you're playing against like other prospects and other big name people. And so I think that him being able to show his scoring prowess on a big stage like that, um and what was a down year for Baylor overall, but for him as a prospect, he really showed that he can have these type of these scoring outbursts. And he can defend multiple positions with his long wingspan, um, and his ability to jump. And I just think that he has a lot of boom uh, projection. Like he can be a great wing for a number of different teams. But I am a little scared that there is the ability that he doesn't continue to fill out, and maybe the jumper isn't as consistent as we think it's going to be. So that's just why I have these next five players in the boomer bust here, because there is some room for them not to project out as we have them projecting out. But I'm a big fan of Cameron Carr.
This is a long ep, but it was getting a
You're
little.
alone. We might have to split this one up. We might do
Yeah,
like
you
a
might get a part
lottery and
one.
then
Wait,
everything after
if we
that.
do a part one, this is the end of part one, folks. Stay tuned for part two.